Welcome to this special noontime session at the American College of Sports Medicine Annual Meeting. This is a very special day for us. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize a group of people who are here that, I don't know if you know this, but I've been a member of the International Paralympic Committee since 1996, and I'm very proud to introduce to you today the United States Paralympic National Swimming Team. We're introducing the swimming team. Okay. Born on June 30th, 1985, in Baltimore, Maryland, Michael Phelps competed in his first Olympics at the age of 15 as a part of the United States men's swim team. He went on to win medals at the Olympic Summer Games in Athens, Beijing, London, and Rio, accumulating a total of 28 medals, 23 of them gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze. What's with the bronze? It's just so uncharacteristic. He set records for the most medals won by any Olympic athlete. Michael announced his retirement in 2012. However, in April 2014, he announced that he was coming out of retirement and would return to competition at the age of 28. In June 2016, he clinched a spot on the United States Olympic swim team, making him the first American male swimmer to earn a spot on 5 Olympic teams. At the 2016 Olympic Games, he won 1 silver. Again, what's up with that? Yeah, I know you weren't. And 5 gold medals, becoming the oldest individual gold medalist in Olympic swimming history, as well as the first swimmer to win 4 consecutive golds in the same event, the 200-meter individual medley. Michael Phelps is the most decorated Olympian of all time. He was elected as the U.S. flag bearer for the opening ceremony of the Rio Olympic Games by a vote of his fellow Team USA members. It is my distinct pleasure and an honor to introduce to you Michael Phelps. Keenan Robinson is currently the High Performance Director for USA Swimming. He's been on international staffs of USA Swimming since 2007. Keenan served as both the athletic trainer and strength coach for the University of Michigan, North Baltimore Aquatic Club, and Arizona State University over the past 14 years. Comfortable with his skill set and knowledge base, Keenan has relied heavily on the USOC sports medicine, sports psychology, and sports physiology to aid in his interaction with athletes who have entrusted him with their care and performance. This approach has led to swimmers participating and winning individual medals in the 2008, the 2012, and the 2016 Olympic Games. My pleasure to introduce to you Keenan Robinson. Dr. Randy Wilbur is a fellow of the American College of Sports Medicine and is a senior sport physiologist at the U.S. Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs and has worked with the United States Olympic Committee for 25 years. In addition, he works closely with Team USA athletes and coaches in the areas of altitude training, heat, humidity, climatization, blood chemistry analysis, overtraining, international air travel, and exercise-induced asthma. Dr. Wilbur has worked closely with many U.S. Olympic medalists, including Michael Phelps. He has been an official member of Team USA for the past 8 Olympics, 4 winter and 4 summer. Randy serves as the chair of the American College of Sports Medicine Olympic and Paralympic Sports Medicine and Sports Science Committee. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Randy Wilbur. Just kidding. We're easy.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Fireside Chat with Michael Phelps. Thank you for coming. First, I want to thank ACSM for their support of this event. CEO Jim Whitehead, immediate past president Elizabeth Joy, President Walt Thompson, and CFO Tim Calvert, and our logistics director Lynn Kuna, and many others for your support and hard work in bringing this once-in-a-lifetime event to the ACSM Annual Meeting. Now, in introducing and welcoming Michael this morning, it's important that we acknowledge 3 people who've been critical to his success. First, Coach Bob Bowman. Bob has been Michael's coach, in fact, his only coach since he was 8. Bob has been named to the coaching staff of numerous World Championship and Olympic teams. Most recently, he served as the men's head coach of the Rio 2016 Olympic team. Now, in addition to Michael, Bob has coached more Olympic and Paralympic medalists than any other coach in any other sport in the United States. Coach Keenan Robinson, we're delighted that Keenan is with us today on this very prestigious panel. Keenan has worked as Michael's athletic trainer, strength and conditioning coach, and overall confidant for the past 14 years. Like Coach Bowman, Keenan has helped to develop several Olympic and Paralympic medalists. After Rio 2016, Keenan was named as the high performance director at USA Swimming and is one of the rising stars in the practical application of sports medicine and sports science in Olympic level swimming. Allison Schmidt. Allison has been Michael's teammate and good friend over the past 3 Olympic Games. As you can see here, Allison has a very impressive record as an Olympic athlete herself. She was one of the stars on the women's team in the London 2012 Olympics, where she won multiple gold medals in individual events and relays. So it gives me great honor to thank Allison for being such a great representative of Team USA over many years, and to thank her for being such a great role model to girls and young women throughout the world. Allison, as we speak, is back home in Phoenix babysitting a little 1-year-old guy named Boomer Phelps. I hope she's getting paid pretty good for that. So that shows you the relationship that Allison and Michael have had and continue to have. Now, my first experience working with Michael came in the summer prior to the Athens 2004 Olympics. Here we can see Michael, along with some of his teammates, all of whom went on to win multiple medals in the Athens Olympics. Michael was 18 at the time, and although he had yet to win an Olympic medal, he had done well at the World Championships and was already emerging as a dominant force. As you can see, this picture was taken in August 2003. The athletes had just competed in the FINA World Championships in Barcelona. Then they traveled to Athens for a couple of days of orientation and testing at the American College of Greece, which would serve as the home base for Team USA during the following summer's Olympics. Now recall that there were some serious concerns at the time about the air quality in Athens, with a swimming venue that was outdoors, not indoors. Now, I was brought in by USA Swimming to conduct air quality tests and pulmonary function tests using a sport-specific and environment-specific protocol. Also recall that at the time, the IOC Medical Commission required this type of database testing to be done in order for athletes to be eligible to use a beta-2 agonist. Now here we can see Michael completing his morning training session under the guidance of Olympic coach Eddie Reese, and that session served as, quote, unquote, the exercise challenge and consisted of, incredibly, about 5,000 meters of swimming incorporating all 4 strokes. And Michael probably has the details in his head and can pull them down at any time. Now, since August 2003 in Athens, it has been a unique and memorable experience for me to witness Michael's development as an athlete and as a person, culminating in last summer's Olympics in Rio, where he had his second best performance among the 5 Olympic Games that he has participated in at the age of 31. Now, in introducing Michael today, I'd like to stay away from the medals and the world records and the other unique and great honors that he's accumulated. Rather, I'd like to give you 3 lasting impressions of Michael that I have of his career. And the first is his Baltimore-based blue-collar work ethic. Now, that blue-collar work ethic all starts where Michael is trained from the time he was a little boy up until 1 year prior to the 2016 Olympics, a place called Meadowbrook. Meadowbrook, you say? My. That sounds like kind of a nice, tony, country clubby kind of a place. Probably has a beautiful outdoor pool, indoor pool, great fitness center, probably a couple of 18-hole golf courses. Welcome to Meadowbrook, home of the North Baltimore Aquatics Club, NBAC, Michael Phelps pool since he was a little boy. Here we can see the outdoor pool. Because it is in this state most of the year, due to the beautiful Baltimore weather, Michael and his teammates do most of their training in this indoor pool. It's only got 6 lanes, only 3 of which are 50-meter international length. The rest are 25 meters, separated by a bulkhead. It's not unusual, and on a busy day at Meadowbrook, to see this, a thick fog of chlorine analogs hovering above the surface. Hey, but don't forget to take a look at the west wall, the Meadowbrook NBAC Wall of Fame. All of these names are Olympians. All of them are Olympic or Paralympic medalists. Almost all are gold medalists, many multiple gold medalists. 2 Sullivan Award winners, Michael and Paralympic swimmer Jessica Long. And of course, the NBA motto, hey, our disadvantage is our advantage. Let's go back outside, where here we see the state-of-the-art strength and conditioning facility, affectionately known as the dojo. Unlike the outdoor pool, the dojo is open all year, regardless of the weather, including spring floods from the nearby creek. Here we have the dojo entrance, but don't let the outside fool you, because inside we have the most cutting-edge strength and conditioning equipment available. Here, I got him. Here we can see Keenan Robinson on the far left, big grin on his face, putting athletes through suffering. And if it seems a little cold in here, no problem. Just fire up the propane tanks and the space heater and get back to work. Yeah, Michael's got big feet. Yeah, he's got an 80-plus inch wingspan, an impressive cardiac output, and his technique is impeccable. But for me, the defining characteristic of his unprecedented success is his Baltimore-based blue-collar work ethic. He has always been willing to outwork, outsuffer, outrecover his competitors on a day-to-day consistent basis. And I think that was evident in his preparation for Rio 26 more than any other time in his career. My second lasting impression of Michael is when he led Team USA into Maracanã Olympic Stadium last summer. As you've heard, to carry your nation's flag in the opening ceremony is one of the highest honors an Olympic athlete can receive. It's an honor based on the vote of the entire team. In this case, over 525 Team USA teammates, some of whom are here today. Yeah, I was impressed by the fact that Michael was selected for this honor, but the thing that I was most impressed with and hit me immediately when he walked into the stadium was the fact that Michael was not, repeat, not, 15 meters out in front of the team per opening ceremony protocol. Rather, as you see in this picture, he was nestled back among his teammates, thereby saying, yeah, I'm proud to carry the flag, but I'm just as proud to be your teammate. My third lasting impression of Michael is in his new role as husband to Nicole and father to Boomer. Now, today we hope that Michael will be willing to share some of his thoughts about the impact and importance that Nicole and Boomer have had on his life. So I will only say at this time, Michael, you and Nicole only need 3 more, just like this little guy here, and you have your own 4x100 medley relay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a most unique athlete and a most unique young man, Michael Phelps.
Awesome. Yeah. I like that. 29 individual. It should have been 30. I wanted 30 individual world records. I guess we fell short. I wanted 40 to finish my career, but I'll probably talk about that later.
So, Michael, what have you been up to lately?
A lot. I'm really never home. Nicole is here with me today, and we have the privilege to be able to really travel as a family when we're doing certain things, whether it's talking engagements or a couple of our newest campaigns we just started working with as a family is Colgate and Huggies. So it's kind of been fun filming a couple commercials with the family and enjoying that a little bit. I mean, we travel basically all over the country, some parts of the world, and I talk about my life, and hopefully I can help somebody else perform better than they ever have. For me, I've been very fortunate to have everything that I've had in my career, and looking back at, I think I can finally say, looking back at my career, I'm happy with what I did. I think that's the biggest thing. I wanted to retire on my note, and as Keenan and I were just saying, looking at this, it's some good stats. So, I guess I got to be happy. I got to be proud. One more world record would have been nice, but I can't be too greedy. And I don't like talking about the silver and brown ones, so I'm happy those aren't up there.
So thanks for that.
Oh, no worries.
American College of Sports Medicine, as you know, and as we've talked already, is dedicated to participation, particularly with kids in youth sport. And you've been involved in the Pool Safely program lately. Saw something on Good Morning America, I think, that you were signing the pledge, right?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about Pool Safely. What's that all about?
So Pool Safely is really it's hand in hand with everything that I'm doing with my foundation. So I started my foundation in 2008 after an old sponsor had given me a bonus of $1 million. I put that $1 million to turn it into trying to teach as many kids that I can to be water safe. Children under the age of 14, drowning is the second highest cause of death, and that's something that needs to change. In the last 10 years, we've been able to get, almost 10 years, over 16 to 17,000 kids to be water safe. Yes, it's a good number, but it's not enough. And that's a challenge that we have every day of how we can help more and more kids. Right now, today, I can proudly say we're in every single state, multiple countries worldwide, working with Boys and Girls Club and Special Olympics, just for water safety. And our Pool Safely campaign is just making sure that you're not going in the water alone. You always have somebody supervising you whenever you're around or in a body of water. I think for us, we just want kids to be water safe. That's how I was first put in the water. My mom just wanted us to be water safe. I have 2 older sisters, and they swam, and for me, naturally, I was just around the pool because I was always watching them and always seeing what they were doing. So I became water safe and decided that I wanted to swim after playing baseball, lacrosse, soccer, and swimming all basically every week, all the time. Growing up with ADHD, I needed to find a way to get rid of all the energy that I possibly could, and that was our strategy. So Saturday afternoon, when I would come back, I would be tired and my mom would be happy. But as you saw earlier, Coach Bowman and I have been working together since 8 years old, and you know, at 11, he basically said I could be an Olympian, and that's what I wanted to do. So I then started giving up the other sports to focus just on swimming. And looking at this and looking back at my career, I'm very happy I did.
We are too.
So, Michael, can you expand a little bit more on your long relationship with Coach Bowman?
As you saw, there were a couple of photos. I'll start with this. As there were a couple of photos, you saw him with dark hair, and then you saw some of him with gray hair. I'd like to admit that that is all because of me. I probably wasn't the easiest to work with at times, but I think the relationship that Bob and I had, in my opinion, is different than probably any other athlete coach you'll ever see in sports. I think if you look at sports and you look at the history of it, I don't know if there are many coaches that have been with the same athlete for over 20 years or more. I think that's something that was really interesting for him and I, because we both wanted to be the best that we could be. And you know, for him, he was somebody who every day challenged me in a different way, and tried to see how far he could push me. And as a kid, you saw those amazing photos of our pretty pool in Baltimore. There were time to time where he would push me too hard. And then we took a step back and kind of realized that and figured things out from there. So I think the biggest thing that him and I did was we communicated really about everything from, whatever was going outside of the pool to in the pool. He almost acted as a father to me. For me, over 20 years, I think I saw my father about a handful of times. And so for not really having a father in my life, he acted as one of the father figures to me. And I think that it has really helped me just throughout my whole career. But for him and I, it's like, I think something that was really cool for us growing up is he would have a set and he would just tell me what he wanted me to do during that set. And if I didn't do it, I would come back the next day and he would have a different workout for me to do. We basically just learned through the process of goal setting, all of these different things that helped me throughout my career. So when I did get to 2016, I had 2000, 2008, 2004, 2012, all of those Olympics to really prepare me for that. And I think every one offered me something different that helped me to grow. So anything from him purposely breaking a pair of goggles to know that I can be ready for anything that comes my way. I think that was the coolest thing. He had me ready for any single obstacle that ever came my way at any meet. So when you come back to 2008, where the 200 fly, I basically swam blind for 175 meters, just going based off of what I learned in the training that we did by counting strokes. I knew what to do because I had done it for so many laps and so many miles and so many years that it was just second nature. I just clicked into that mode in my mind and went. Yeah, it worked. I wasn't happy after the race, but that's just me being very hard on myself.
Well, let's go back in time now. And as we know, you were in 5 Olympics. In your first Olympics, you were 15, 16. Could you just give us maybe an impression, be it kind of a positive impression or maybe not so positive impression of each of your 5 Olympic Games, please?
All right, now you're going to make me think. 2000 I was 15. It was my first time out of the country, first national team trip, the biggest stage in sports history. For me, I was this little 15-year-old hungry kid. I remember going at trials, I was 7th at the 150 and ended up getting 2nd to make the team. I then was able to spend time getting to know sort of the team, the staff, training for the 2000 games, and was in Sydney. I was in the finals of my race, and going to the pool, I grabbed my roommate's credential, which made me late for my warm-up that I had to be on this schedule that we try to do our whole career, was trying to stay on this little tiny schedule. So that was a little hiccup. I didn't have my suit tied in 2000 for the final, so I'm happy that stayed on. I mean, and I think the biggest thing for me that really came out of 2000 was, yeah, I was fifth, and I was upset with it. I wanted more. I wanted to come home with a piece of hardware, and I mean, they don't give participation ribbons out for fifth place in Olympic Games. So I was really bummed about that. So for me, instead of taking a break after that, I decided to get back into the pool the next day. 6 months later, I broke my first world record. And that's when things really took off. You know, I think that's when I finally started seeing that if you make sacrifices, you get rewarded in the future. And for me, that was something that was really big, because in swimming, if you take 1 day off, it takes 2 days to get back to where you were. So instead of taking a few steps back like other athletes were doing after the 2000 Olympic Games, I was already that many steps ahead of them. So that was something that I felt kind of worked out in our best interest. And from that point on to 2004, I spent about 5 or 6 years where I didn't miss a single day of workout. Well, one, because I had my wisdom teeth taken out. But other than that, I was back in the water the next day. So, you know, for me, it was, I was willing to do things that I think other people weren't willing to do, and that's why I was able to see the success that I got. In 2004, for me, the coolest thing was just being able to win my first Olympic gold medal. That was something as a kid that I always wanted and always dreamt of. And, you know, for me, the story that still sticks out from 2004 was sharing my first Olympic gold medal in the 400 IM with my mother through a chain-linked fence, because that was the closest I could get to her. And that was really weird, but it was just something that was awesome, because I just remember saying to her, we did it. We were able to accomplish this. About 30 seconds after I said that, my coach said, get back in the water and warm down. You have other races tomorrow. So that's where recovery started really coming into play. And if you look back to 2004, my event schedule was getting pretty lofty and a lot bigger than what it was in 2000. Swimming 8 events and you know, swimming the 200 free, that was awesome for me to swim in that race with those people. Our 2004 relay that I was just talking to Cleet about backstage is where we beat the Australians, first time in a long time, and we want to keep that title on our soil. But I think that for me was one of my funnest Olympics, just because I saw hard work paying off, and I was able to walk home with a couple medals and to see how hard work, dedication, and sacrifice actually works. 2008, I think, is the biggest time where I saw recovery being such a big key. You know, and I think, and I'll say, over the first 4 Olympics, I was pretty focused on me and what I had to do. So I was very quiet, didn't really talk much, didn't engage in much. I was just focused on what I had to do. So 2008, it was obviously the Olympic Games where we had the finals in the morning, and we had to make a change for that. But it was, you know, for me, I always thought it's the Olympic Games. If you can't get up and swim and represent your country in the morning and swim for a gold medal, then stay home. Just don't show up to the Olympics. So for me, like, that was crazy, because it would be, I mean, we got into the schedule where it was, you have a prelim swim, you swim down, ice tub, massage, eat instantly after a race. I was slamming calories after a race just to be able to maintain a weight, because I know if I'm swimming, I mean, I'm basically swimming what? In that week, I'm probably swimming 80,000, 70,000 in a week, which is basically like a normal work week for me. So it was challenging trying to manage the time with recovery, with making sure I'm sleeping enough, making sure I'm hydrating, nutrition, everything is perfect. And, you know, I was very lucky and very fortunate to have an amazing team working with me. I mean, Keen Dog and I started working together in 2004, and you know, for me, it was a true honor and a treat to be able to work with him through the rest of my career. I mean, I don't think I would be where I am today without everything that he sometimes made me do that I didn't want to do, or some of the things that we worked together to try to get stronger and try to make sure we were always staying ahead of everything. I'll be the first person to admit I hated ice tubs. I absolutely hate them. Sitting in water from 48 to 52 degrees, I do not like that. Nobody does. Like, I mean, it can't be something that anybody in here enjoys. So I kind of got into that routine where I forced myself to do it because I saw it actually working, and I felt my body feeling better. And you know, I think after '08 is when maybe things started to fall a little bit for me, where I you know, took 6 months off, didn't really do that much, and tried to come back, and I felt like I was forcing myself to go through the motion going into 2012. So I think that would be the biggest learning experience I had. I wasn't passionate about it then as I was the previous 3. So that was hard, and obviously starting off that Olympic Games with a 4th place didn't really make me happy that week, but we ended up finishing out the week okay, and you know, for me, taking a couple, I guess a year and a half, 2 years off after 2012, and finally coming back to where I found the passion and I found the drive and the desire to want to do it again and want to go through the pain and the hard work to get back to it. I made the sacrifice to literally do it the exact perfect way that we possibly could. And I just cleaned a lot of things up, and you know, for me, that was probably the best shape I've physically ever been in my life. You know, at under 5%, you know, 4 to 5% body fat, 195, 200 pounds. Was doing great work in the weight room and the swimming pool, taking care of myself away from the pool. You know, all of those things were what I learned the first 4 Olympics. So I think that really helped me to be able to get back to the top and to be able to get back to me being the best that I could be.
And then, were you surprised by the results
No.
that came out of 2016?
No, not at all, because I did the work and I prepared myself how I was supposed to and how I knew I needed to do. You know, there are bigger sacrifices that I probably made in 2015, 16, and you know, I think not having the opportunity to swim at World Championships in 2015, I think really motivated me even harder to be as prepared as I could for those games. To make sure I finished, like I said before, finish my career how I wanted to. That was the biggest thing for me. You know, like you said, medals and records and this and that don't really matter. For me, as long as I, at the end of my career, can look back and say I've accomplished everything I've wanted to and I'm walking out of the sport at the right time, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. Again, looking back a little bit, who would you say are maybe the top 2 or 3 guys that you had to compete against, either here in the U.S. or internationally?
I was competing against myself.
Okay.
Honestly, like because at the end of the day, I'm the only one that can control what I'm doing, right? I can't control what somebody else is doing. So I know as long as I prepare myself the best way I possibly can, then I will get the results that I deserve. So for me in 2012, I got the results I deserved. There were weeks that I would just take off. Weeks. You can ask him. We call it shoveling. I would shovel them so many times. Because it would be, like, shoveling is a term we use. It would be, my coach was super excited because they had a workout that they were looking forward to seeing me do, and I wouldn't show up. So it would be like taking a shovel to the face because I wasn't there and they were excited about it. So I shoveled a lot. I mean, I was just talking to Matt Lauer not too long ago, and he asked me a question. He said, "Did you come in for an interview in 2012 just because I was there?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I heard you weren't there the previous 10 days to 2 weeks, but then the day we had the interview, you came in." I go, "Yeah, I knew we had a sit-down interview. I had to make it look like I was doing everything the right way, right? I was trying to make you guys believe I was doing it the right way." So we've had interesting stories throughout our career.
So, Keenan, I'm going to try to get this slide up.
Okay, yeah. So I get to ask kind of one of the...
There it is. It's up.
A funner question, I think, or this is one of the races that you're most known for. This is the 2008 finals of the 100 butterfly. I think this event can formulate so many questions, Michael, that embody you as an athlete. So could I ask you 2 questions about this? One, this was August 15th. The Olympics started on August 8th, so this is day 7 of competition for you. You've done, I think it was 9 races already. You'd won a gold medal in all of them for the record. I'm not sure how many events that he had going into this race, so 0. So from a psychological standpoint, had the luxury of actually like watching you do it, but can you kind of explain to the audience about your mental preparation, and which is one of the attributes that's sometimes not talked about greatly about you. And then actually your competitor recently asked you in the public about your ability to recover from bout to bout, and you'd taken some measures with that, and I think you could elaborate that. People used to think I was Q-tipping your ear, but maybe you can kind of elaborate on blood lactate testing.
I'll never forget the night before this final. I had just won the 200 IM, broken a world record, and had the 100 fly semifinal shortly thereafter. And I mean, probably within 25 minutes, let's say roughly. It was under half an hour. And I'll never forget walking down the back hallway after going through the media, and I said to Bob, I don't have anything left. I felt I was cashed, just done. And he basically said, tough you got a couple more races to go. And I was like, all right, okay, fine. He's like, you have 100 fly tomorrow, 100 final tomorrow, and then you have the final of the relay. And I said, okay. So after this, or after that night, I knew I had to get the right sleep, I knew I had to get the right nutrition, I knew I had to get the right massage, this and that, just making sure I was doing everything I could to recover, to prepare myself for this race, because I knew it wasn't going to be an easy one. For me, I knew I had to be at a certain spot the first 50 to be able to have a chance to win, because his front half speed was so much better than what mine was. And I kind of just, honestly, I felt his splash coming home and basically said to myself, I was like, I need to hit this wall. And as you see, watching his stroke from the bottom, he's gliding and his body is a U because his feet is up and his hips are so far down. And I end up taking a half stroke, which ends up winning the race. If I don't take that half stroke, I lose the race by probably a tenth. So that was just out of instinct, basically, that I honestly took that stroke. But it's also really funny. I'm not even answering your question, so I'm not all of it.
There you are.
Some of it. But it's like, I think the crazy thing really about him is, I recently stood up and I testified in front of Congress about doping in sports and how much of a joke I think it is, and basically how we're not doing enough to prevent cheaters from competing against clean athletes who actually do the work and dedicate themselves to representing their team and their country as best they can. He recently afterwards made a comment about, like, why am I standing up now and talking about it? Well, the reason why I'm standing up now and talking about it is during my career, I wanted to take care of the business that I had at hand, taking care of myself. And now I'm to the point where I want the sport to be, or all sports in general, to be the best that they can. And that, I mean, that's firsthand. You have to stop these guys and these women that are finding a way to get around it to take performance-enhancing drugs, and it's frustrating. Honestly, I can say standing up in 5 Olympic Games and a number of world championships that I don't know if I can honestly say I stood up and competed against a full heat of clean athletes. I think that's a joke. I think it's a pretty crappy feeling to understand and to feel, and I'm doing everything I can now to make sure that doesn't happen for the other athletes. I mean, look at the whole thing we had this summer about talking about Russia and having them be able to compete. There's so many things, and I don't want to get into too much, but it's something that needs to fix. It needs to be fixed, it needs to be changed, and we need to put more into it. And I think what we do here in our country is the best job out of anybody. Nobody else really, I mean, there are a handful of people that really follow our drug testing protocol, and I think it should be worldwide, and that's something that we're working on as well. I don't know if that semi-answers your question a little bit, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe. If you want more, I can, I don't know, ask another question.
Man,
If you want details or anything else to follow up, go ahead.
So coming out of your experience in testifying before United States Congress, do you feel that they were listening? And do you feel that your recommendations and your candor about the state, if you will, of drug testing, especially internationally, that they're hearing what you have to say and are actually trying to make it better?
I think there's probably more. I think there are more people that are trying to do more about it now than what they were before. I think there are people that can't kind of brush it under the rug anymore like people used to, and I think, I would assume that Travis Tiger and I will probably end up going back to Congress and testifying again. Hopefully the IOC and WADA are listening and they're willing to change for the right reasons, because that's not what the definition of sport is, and I think that's really frustrating. If you're gonna play a sport and you're gonna have the chance to represent your country, then it should be done the right way, and you don't deserve it if you're doing it any other way.
Right. Well, let's go back to Beijing again, and I've never asked you this, but I've always been curious. What was that like? Again, 8 out of 8, Olympic quote-unquote perfection, and it wasn't easy, as you know.
No.
It was not easy. We just saw the one race, and then your boy Jason Lezak.
Yeah, we had a couple of close ones in that race. And it was, I think the coolest thing for me this past year, after Rio, my wife and I and Boomer had the chance to travel to China, and we saw the Great Wall and spent some time in the water cube. And I think that, for me, I was able to really, understand more what happened. For me, I guess in my career for so long, I never had the chance to sit back and enjoy the ride that was going on, because I was always going to something else and doing something different. And I was getting ready for another competition or anything. I was always go. I never had the time to sit back and look. And I think being able to go back to the cube and share those moments. I shared the story that I said to Bob walking down that back hallway, and I walked down that back hallway and it gave me chills. Standing behind the lanes that I was in, reliving those races. I still probably don't fully understand really what happened in 08. I get that I went 8 for 8, and that's really it. But I think the farther away from my swimming career I get, I think more of it will sink in. And I think that's really kind of where I am. I've been able to go back and relive 2000, 2004, and 2008. I'm working back to 2012 right now, and then I'll tackle the last 4 years of my career. But I think for me, as a dad now, and especially being able to share some of these stories that I share with Nicole that she might not have heard, and I probably haven't really shared with many people. I think it's kind of cool that it's going back to those experiences and reliving those memories. It's pretty special, and just going back to wanting to change the sport, really. That's my goal was when I was 15, and it still is today to try to change the sport even more. It all goes back to that, and the goals that I had to be able to get to where I was. There's so many little small pieces of the puzzle that had to fit perfectly for me to be able to accomplish the things that I did. From a coaching standpoint, from a recovery standpoint. So many different angles that allowed me to have this opportunity, and it was fun.
I still recall one of your altitude training camps in Colorado Springs.
Which one?
Where you guys?
We have a lot of them out here. A lot.
Where you and Bob actually simulated that 8-race plus schedule with the goal of, wow, if we can do these kind of times at 6,000 feet, then we're good, or we still got a little more work to do for Beijing, in addition to adjusting to the morning time sets. But I remember that distinctly. You guys simulated that whole schedule at altitude.
But that was the biggest thing, and I'm sure you'll touch about it later, but the biggest thing, we always wanted to be as prepared as we could, almost overly prepared. It goes back to what I was talking to before. For me, I would visualize nonstop. I'm visualizing things that I want to do, things that I don't, or things that I want to happen, things that I don't want to happen, and things that could happen. Just because if I got there and this, that, or that went wrong, I don't spaz out, I don't freak out, I don't go out of my comfort zone. I'm still relaxed. I'm able to kind of focus, refocus. Leading into 2008, we couldn't even have a suit that I would put on that wouldn't rip. So we had to be ready for anything, because we didn't know what was going to happen with a suit that I put on 20 minutes before my race or 30 minutes before my race. If it would rip, my coach would be the one that's freaking out. I just said I need another suit, and I put that suit on, and then I was good to go. So I think that was something that I was able to learn between that and goal setting at a very young age with Bob. That was almost just second nature for me throughout the rest of my career. So, for me, I like I said, in 2008, I was ready for my goggles to fill up with water. Hopefully it didn't, but if it happened, I knew that I wasn't going to spaz out, I wasn't going to freak out, and I was going to be able to perform how I prepared. And like Dr. Wilbur said, that's what we did in workout. I mean, we did a bunch of tests that when we would come up here to try to make sure we were mentally and physically fit, and without those, I wouldn't be here. I mean, without any other coach, there's not a shot in hell I'd be able to perform and do what I did.
I remember Coach Bowman's phrase was, when you guys would be about a week out from coming up to the Springs, he'd come into the locker room and said, "Boys, we're going to prison, Colorado Springs. You're going to swim, you're going to get your breakfast, you're going to recover, you're going back and swim, you're going in the weight room, and we're going to do it again for the next 4 weeks. We would have
triple, double day off. Those are only swimming workouts. We had weight workouts included with those, but that would be 1 week. We'd have 24 to 30 days here.
Yeah.
And I've done it for 15 years, multiple times up here, a year. So I think I roughly can say I probably spent close to 5 years of my life in Colorado Springs in prison, as Dr. Wilbur said.
And guess where Coach Bowman is right now? Colorado Springs.
I'm really bummed I missed that trip.
So, Michael, going into 2016 Rio, that was going to be your 5th Olympics. You're going to be 31 by the time competition began, and a lot of people in the media were saying that you'd be lucky to get 2 individual bronze, and then if the rest of the people swam well, you'd get a couple relay golds. One, you just told us a little bit earlier that you weren't too shocked by that. Could you elaborate on the things that you did roughly like January, December of 2014, leading up to that you weren't surprised? What things led to that?
I mean, it was, for me, I was always making sure. I did all the little things right. I think that was the biggest thing. For me, it started from, I didn't drink. I cut out eating like garbage. I actually treated my car like a high-performance vehicle, and I wanted to have the right fuel in it. I was sleeping properly. I mean, the amount of stats that those two probably have on me throughout my career are unbelievable. I mean, we have sleeping stats, we have blood results stats. I mean, anything you can possibly think of. And I know we have a lot of doctors in here, so you use your imagination. We did everything. We tried to make sure we were as prepared, we were healthy as possible. And I think that it's all the little things. So it's all of those small things I just talked about that ended up really adding up. Like when I came back out of retirement, we slowly grinded our way back to being able to swim a workout where I don't feel like there's 15 pianos on my back and where I actually could get back to shape. I mean, I came out of retirement and I was, 235, 230. I raced in London at 185 pounds. So I had gained a lot of weight. So I was able to kind of get into a rhythm and I lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks. And it was, just getting back into the routine. I mean, that's really all it was. And it became second nature for me just to be able to get back into that rhythm of trying to get my body to a place where I'm ready to race. And 14 happened. It was a good year. I mean, I had an okay year. And then I wasn't able to swim at World Championships, which was frustrating because it would have been my last World Championships. And I used that as motivation. For me, there are always people who, obviously we know in this world, who are going to run their mouth and they're going to say this or that or have doubts, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. Like, for me, it doesn't bother me. It actually motivates me and excites me. I'm like, okay, yeah, you want to think that or believe that, go ahead, that's your opinion, I'm going to prove you wrong. I mean, it was just like in '08. I mean, Ian Thorpe publicly stated that it was impossible to win 8 gold medals in Olympic Games. Okay. Going into 2016, he said the same exact thing. Somebody as a 31-year-old probably won't win a single gold medal. I then texted him back and said, I was like, thanks for your support, Thorpe. And his response was actually pretty good. Over the years, I've been able to get to know him a little bit, and he's like, I know how you work. I was just giving you a little extra motivation. So I guess I can now look back and thank Thorpe for that. But I mean, but that's the thing, you know, like people always say to me, like, how did you do this or how did you do that? It's not rocket science. It's really not. What I did was, I mean, I don't want to say it was easy, but obviously there are challenging times, but it's like, if you sacrifice, if you're willing to work hard, if you can figure out small little things that make you work and you have the right people around you, it's really easy. I mean, it's, you know, I was very fortunate to have a great coach. I was very fortunate to have an amazing strength and conditioning coach and trainer. And I was very fortunate to have the USOC help as much as they did as well. You know, when we came out here, you know, we were taken care of. We had everything we needed. We were tunnel vision. We trained. We grinded. We had the test if we needed the test. We had, you know, the best of the best. And I think that's really what made it all possible. I mean, it's, other than that, that's about it, guys. Sorry. Sorry, that's not, it might not be the answer you're looking for, but it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science to be able to do something that you want to do and you're passionate about. This is something I dreamt of my whole entire life. And this or that was not going to stand in the way of me doing it. I was going to find a way to get it done with the right people.
Thanks. So, Michael, tell us about what it meant to have Nicole and Boomer.
Oh, it's the best. You know, for me, I was finally very lucky to have Nicole back in my life. Nicole and I have gone on and off it'll be on and off for 10 years this July. So we are now married with a 1-year-old son, and you know, being able to be in Rio and look up and see Booms and Nicole and my mom and my family and father-in-law, mother-in-law, everybody up there supporting was the best feeling in the world, just being able to look up and know that your son is watching you swim in your last races of your career. You know, I think that was something that's so special to me. And as a dad now, well, number one, he's going to know how to swim. Whether he swims or not, that's his choice. But just being able to share those moments and these memories that we've been able to have so far through his life. I mean, the kid's a year and he has like 10 stamps in his passport. Like, are you kidding me? So, you know, we've had a lot of fun, and you know, I was up here last May 4th, I was here, and the morning of the 5th, it was actually kind of like, I'm getting ready to do like a big, like one of my last set, like my last big, like, speed sets to get me ready for trials, this and that. And I wake up, like I talked to Nicole that night on the 4th, everything's fine. And I go in to brush my teeth, and Allison hands me a phone. And I was like, what? And I knew it was one person. Like, there's only one person that she's handing me her phone with, right? Like, it was Nicole. She's like, oh, I think I'm going to the hospital today. And I was like, no, we still have a couple more weeks, honey. Like, why are you going so early? Like, no, come on. And about an hour later, they went in, and her dad called Keen Dog, and I did 100 fly. And I was supposed to do 3 or 4. I did 100 fly. I got out, got on a plane, and that night I was able to see what the definition of love is. Watching your first child born. Somebody told me that, a good friend of mine, a father figure of mine told me that, and I asked him to explain more, and he said, I can't explain it. It's just a feeling that you'll have come over your body. And that night was when you saw what love is, being able to bring your first child into this world, and to be able to have a healthy, happy baby. I mean, if you see him 95% of the time, he has the biggest smile on his face. He's laughing. He's going crazy. but it's awesome. It literally has changed my life in the best way possible. And it's been fun watching him every day kind of come into the almost little boy that he is. It's so weird that a year has gone by, and looking forward to the future, and hopefully, well, I can't say that because then I'll miss it. I'm looking forward to the day that he starts walking and just doing different things. You know, like I said, his emotions are changing, his personality is coming out. It's just enjoyable for the both of us.
And then have you and Nicole got a plan in terms of Boomer's potential interest in sports?
I mean, as a dad, I would say I'd like to see him in like the top 3 of the Masters on a Sunday. No pressure, right? No pressure. But no, I mean, really whatever he wants. That's my biggest thing. You know, for me as a kid growing up, I was very fortunate to have a mother who single-handedly raised myself and my 2 sisters, but also was never really like pushy on us to do this or that. I think she kind of left it up to us, and you know, for me, there were a handful of times I wanted to quit and didn't want to swim anymore, but my mother always gave me a couple things to think about before I finally went through it, and it was always the right thing. So, you know, she was there for guidance, but I always knew that if I didn't want to swim, she would support that. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, as parents, Nicole and I now have that opportunity to be there as support for our son, and you know, if he wants to swim, great. I don't know. I'd rather him not swim, but I mean,
So
it's
you're saying
hard.
he's got his own golf clubs sitting.
He has his first set, his little Fisher-Price golf clubs already. So I'm waiting for the day for him to go outside and start hitting them, but it hasn't happened yet. He just hits me with it.
Michael, to kind of piggyback on that question, with your retirement, there's a huge void in USA Swimming and in multiple events. And about a month and a half ago at the USA Swimming National Coaches Conference, Bob told all the coaches that he's got our problem solved. We just have to wait 13 or 14 more years because he's been watching Boomer in the pool.
He does swim. He's got a nice stroke.
But in all honesty, who do you see coming up? Where do you see swimming from a pure sport perspective? Where do you see us in the vision? Because you're not one to predict or hold punches. You're usually pretty accurate.
I mean, I think, you know, right now, I think we have a couple really good kids that are coming up. I mean, obviously Chase for me is obviously like a little brother to me, and watching him grow and come into his own has been fun. But I mean, like I said before, it's not rocket science. People who want to do the work are going to be the people who are going to succeed the most. And, you know, Keen Dog and I were saying coming in, it's like, sometimes I feel nowadays kids don't want to fully work like we did in the past, or they don't want to challenge themselves in training like we did in the past. And that's frustrating because, you know, I know for one person it doesn't come easy. Nothing does in life, whether it's about sport or anything. So for me, I would like to see stronger kids, and you know, for me, I would like to see kids that aren't afraid to dream and aren't afraid to go and reach and try to accomplish something that other people might not think is possible. I mean, I don't know how many people attempted to try to win 7, but I thought anything was possible. That's how I always worked. For me, and everyone laughs when I say this, but it's true. Biggie has a song called "The Sky Is the Limit." And Biggie is one of my favorite rappers of all time. And that song for me, it speaks so much volume. And just to be able to think about that, I mean, the only thing we're not going to be able to do in here is probably fly. That's really it. Anything else we truly want to do, if we prepare ourselves the right way, anything is possible. And what I did in the pool, I think, is a perfect example of that. Nobody thought Spitz that record would ever be broken again. Hard work and dedication and believing in yourself actually does work, and it pays off. It might not be that minute or the next day, but if you're willing to dedicate yourself and to never, ever give up, anything's possible. And for me, I didn't care really what was in front of me. I was going to be able to get through it or get over it somehow. And a lot of the world saw a couple obstacles that I had in my life that I had to get through. In the pool and out of the pool. They didn't stop me. Depression didn't stop me. Being in the darkest place in my life where I wanted to commit suicide didn't stop me. So anything is possible. And we all go through the same exact things every single day. We're all human beings. So don't be afraid to dream. That would be my biggest message to a kid, because you never know what can happen until you actually try. And I see it. I was at ASU the other day, and I saw the same thing there. I watched a kid go 104 and 100 fly, and then I got up and raced him, and I went 55, and he went 107, or no, 57, excuse me. So it's like, it's obviously there, but if he doesn't want to try all the time, he's not going to see the results and the success. So that's why I say it's not rocket science.
There is some science behind it, and I think we have to.
There is, but not rocket science.
We have to honor the audience, but most importantly, we have to really honor and attribute Dr. Wilbur and his work. You are a walking, living, training human physiology book. But one of the things that I always admired towards the end of your career was you not just seeing your blood chemistry report on a piece of paper and just walking on and thinking the numbers dictated your success. And you often would roll your eyes when certain athletes, whether you were teammates or competitors, use that as their determinant of success. And you always said, I can't remember how many ESPN or Sports Illustrated articles you said how much you hated Colorado Springs and altitude training and coming up here. Please elaborate. Then why did you come?
Because I knew it was right. I knew that training at altitude for 24 days, at least 21 to 24 days, it's what I need. You can get twice the work done in here that you can at sea level. So for me, it was a no-brainer to be able to come up here and to have the resources that we had, to be able to have the blood work and the help that we had from the USOC. Did I really enjoy fasting and getting up at 6:30 in the morning to go do a blood work when I had to go right to work out after that and we had just gotten into town? No, I didn't really want to do it. But you know what? I knew that it was beneficial for me, and I was able to see what I needed to fix, whether my iron low, whether my vitamin B or vitamin D or anything was low, so we knew what was going on. I know that, I have a breaking point whenever I come here. And Nicole, don't laugh too hard, Nicole. She would always hear about 2 weeks-ish, 14 to 16 days was about my breaking point where I was fed up, I was over it, I didn't want to be here anymore, I needed to go home, I couldn't just eat, sleep, swim, do that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I would usually have one meltdown every time I was here, but after that I was good. Just go out on the golf course, play golf a couple rounds, and I was happy again. So, but for me, honestly, looking back, yes, I did not really look forward to coming to Colorado Springs to train, to be at altitude, but that was a sacrifice, right? I went back and I talk about sacrifices. That was a sacrifice I made to be able to have the opportunity for me to be at my best. And I think now looking, I can look back and say, the beginning part of my career, I wouldn't really pay attention to the numbers and stats and this and that. I was just like, can you just, what do I need to know? Basically, that's what I said. It's like, what do I need to know about this? Is it good? Is it bad? What do I need to fix? And I would get it. And now, it's funny now looking back and looking at all the sleep data that we had. Was I getting enough REM, deep, light sleep? What were my numbers like every day? So we had goals that I wanted to hit every night in that way too. So it's like, if we're over 20% of deep sleep and REM sleep a night, or if we're 20% REM is awesome. But if we're hitting these numbers every time, it's like I'm recovering so much more. My body is ready to go the next day, no matter what Bob throws at me. So I think that was something for me that I finally engaged myself in over the last couple of years because I saw the importance of it. And I think that's something that, the athletes now coming up, they have that opportunity to utilize that if they want. I mean, hell, I wish we could have known, I wish I would have been more involved in this 10, 15 years ago. But, it's been amazing to be able to really see sort of where we've gone and different stages of where I am with body percent fat, or my percent of body fat, my blood work, my sleep work, always making sure like I don't have any shoulder problems, so going through certain tests, and that was the best thing, you know, and coming up here to the USOTC and being able to work with the best of the best, you know, for me definitely helped a bunch. I can never ever thank them enough for everything they've done, and I mean, even over the last couple of years, I've seen such a big improvement in everything that you guys are doing. So you guys are, honestly, Dr. Werber, you guys have done an amazing job working together with Keenan and myself, and I can't thank you enough.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Walt has a question.
So it's dedication, perseverance, science, and Nicole.
That's it, yeah.
That wraps it up, right?
That's all I got, yeah. Not that hard.
Rocket science.
There is so much science in sports, and I think, but I think people try to make it so much harder than it really is. That's why I say rocket science. I'm like, guys, come on. Like, people are always like, how do you do it? How do you swim so fast? I don't know, get in the water and train. Like, I don't know, figure a way how to get faster. Like, build your endurance. You know, if you want to swim a 100 fly, train for a 200 fly. You want to swim for a 200 free, train for a 400 free. So, I know it. Some people listen, some people don't. So hopefully some athletes will listen coming up.
There's some science behind the
A
training.
little bit. It's not rocket science.
I just want to make that clear.
No, there 100% is. 100%. Keen Dog took care of all science side of it. I just got in the water and listened to what I was told.
So we need to wrap this up, but I really want to circle back to your foundation. You started the foundation in 2008. You were pretty busy between 2008 and 2016, but we've all seen you on television talking about your foundation. Pull Safely is just part of that, right?
Yep.
The American College of Sports Medicine is dedicated to the same kinds of things that your foundation is dedicated to, and I want to tell you that we'd like to help you with your foundation.
That'd be great.
But I want to ask you, what do you see in the future? So you retired in 2016, and now you're dedicating yourself not only to your family, but to your foundation as well. Where do you see the foundation going in the next decade?
I mean, you know, like I said, like I feel like it's okay to be greedy and trying to teach more kids how to swim. I think 15 to 17,000 is a great number, but there's still people out there. I mean, last year in Arizona, through June, there was already 10 drownings. More than one a month is not right. It's not good, and it needs to be resolved. So for us, I mean, it's crazy because the curriculum is exactly how I was taught. So for me, it's funny because now I watch Boomer, and Boomer has been through a handful of lessons with the woman who taught me how to swim. Boomer only wants to be on his stomach. I couldn't stand being on my stomach when I learned to swim. So he's the complete opposite. So everybody learns differently, and everybody is more comfortable in a different way in the water. So it's finding that comfortable spot for a kid, for an adult. And with our curriculum that we have, I mean, I think the opportunities are endless to see how many kids we can save, not only in the U.S., but also in the world. I obviously have my family, and I have my suit brand, my line that hopefully will become I think it's the best already, obviously. But hopefully we can have other people think it's the best too. You know, for me, being able to kind of have my first hands-on opportunity to build some suits and build some equipment, training equipment, caps, goggles, trying to make the best product that we can. I have a very, very busy schedule, but it's honestly, it's the coolest life because now I get to do everything that I wanted to do outside of the pool, and I also get to help kids. Because if you look at me and I'm around a kid, you're going to see the real me, the real genuine me that has a real massive, like really big smile all the time. You know, for me, it's fun going into boys and girls clubs. Just being able to like literally sit and talk to them, and they get such a kick out of the questions they ask. They're like, it's always funny. You're like, what kind of car do you drive? How much money do you make? What do you do here? And you're like, these are the answers. These are the questions these kids want to know. But it's always funny just being able to go in and relax and hang out because, you know, for me, I'm a normal person who has a lot of goals and a lot of dreams, and I worked hard to achieve them, and now is the start to the next chapter of my life. And I do have a lot of goals and dreams. And you know, for me, I spent 20 years of my life staring at a black line. So now it's the same, but in a different way. My goals and what I want to achieve, it's just like I was doing in the pool, but now I'm trying to change my mindset to see what I can do on land. And I am a fish out of water, but we're going to figure out how we can figure out how to do some amazing things. And it's exciting because Nicole and I, we share a lot of the same passions, and just being able to help is something that's so fun and so enjoyable for me.
Thanks.
Michael, we have one more quick question.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our favorite Michael Phelps moments. What are you most proud of in the pool and out of the pool?
I mean, honestly, I think going back through my Olympic career, the 200 fly from this Olympics probably stands out as one of my favorite races. Just because I realized how much I had to get through to get there. For me, we weren't even going to swim the 200 fly. And somehow got it done by that much. So, but that was something I really wanted, just being able, that was my first Olympic race in 2000. I won it in 2004. I won it in 2008. Somebody touched me out in 2012. And I was able to kind of retaliate and come back and get the job done there. And that was one race I wanted bad. I also wanted the 200 IM world record, but I'm just going to throw it out there again. Sorry, it's like the 5th time I've said it, but you can tell it's obviously still a thought in my head. But no, I'm not coming back. My favorite moment outside of the pool is just, it's really being able to grow a family. I've been very fortunate to have an amazing support team with my sisters, my mother, my coaches that I've worked with through my whole career, my closest friends, and now Nicole and I get to start a family. I think that's something that we've enjoyed so much, and I guess we got the pressure from Dr. Wilbur, honey, that we got to start having 3 more kids for our own 4x1 relay.
That's right.
But it's just, it is so amazing because every day is so different. Every day there's always something new that he is doing, or he's trying to do, or taking a couple steps, or trying to say ball or bottle or mom or dad. So it truly is a treat for me. And I can honestly say with everything that I've gone through, I'm happy now that I'm happy with me being me. I love who I am. And honestly, I'm thankful for everything that's happened. I'm thankful I'm alive, and I'm thankful that I've been able to do everything that I've been able to put my mind to. And I think that's something that is very special and very powerful, and hopefully I can help somebody else accomplish their goal and dream sometime.
Well, Michael, as I've told you many times before, I mean this sincerely, thank you for being such a great representative of Team USA, of the United States of America. Thank you for being such a great role model, not only for children all over the world, but for adults too. And we, the ACSM, wish you continued success and wonderful peace and joy in your new role as a father and husband. Thank you so much for being with us today. Standing out.
I'll miss not being on the medal podium anymore.
So we know that Michael has a lot of plaques and awards on his walls of his home. He doesn't have any room at all for any more plaques. But Michael, this is an Indian club from the 1800s that each of the members of the Board of Trustees, who are sitting right here, has signed.
Oh, awesome.
This was, just to let you know, this was the original resistance training right here. So thank you so much.
I've never seen one of them. That's, yeah.
And we have an instruction book to go along with it.
We have an instruction book. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
so much.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's actually cool.
And thank you all so very much. Mr. Michael Phelps.
Like Indian clubs, they're really freaking hard.
What do you do?